live, and I think this time we don't need to record because it is live. So welcome to another CryptoVagabonds Q&A. Today we're going to be talking about something more geopolitical center. So it's not so much about crypto, it's about something that people are not talking about, which is the conflict in Ukraine and Zelensky. So let me get my presentation window ready so we can be jumping straight into that one.
Yeah, remember there is audio.
Okay, I remember there is audio. Let me just get into this now. Hold on a second. There we go. Let me know when you can see my screen so you can get straight into that.
Yeah, I can see it now.
Can you see it? Okay, so let's get started. And thank you for the message, Ms. Lee. So here, we're going to start the presentation. As always, we need to have our disclaimer. No content of ours in no platform is to be considered financial, tax, or legal advice. And this presentation will be covering something geopolitical regarding the conflict in Ukraine. Now, why we're covering that is because depending on what happens on that conflict, it may affect the performance of your crypto asset. So this Q&A does occur every Wednesday at 1 p.m. EST. Of course, you're always free to interact with us in Clubhouse, Tuesday to Friday at 7 a.m. EST, and obviously here in YouTube, Instagram, and X. Today, I want to show to you guys the dark side of Zelensky, or the dark side of the political leader of Ukraine. Now, the roadmap of today, we're going to be talking about the servant of the people. That is the name of the political party, but it's also the name of a series or a mini-series that he created in Ukraine under his direction. Then we're going to be looking at how he shifted from when he became a politician to now, and also how he failed to tackle the corruption in Ukraine. Ukraine is still the second most corrupt country on Eastern Europe. The only losing for Russia. Only Russia managed to be more corrupt than Ukraine. And of course, later, we're going to be giving my conclusion or my final thoughts on this. So it's important to understand that, just as I mentioned, Ukrainians, or the Ukrainian nation, the Ukrainian country, are always under heavy corruption. Corruption is the one big issue for Ukraine. As I just mentioned, it's the second most corrupt country on the European continent. Now, the population had a desire for someone different, someone who was committed to the EU, European Union, and in order to get that, you need to tackle the problems of corruption. So that was one of the things that Zelensky used to get higher into politics and to become the president. Now, he took advantage of the instability of the country. In 2014, we had the Maidan event where a president was taken down. So he came to a country that was already into turmoil and tired and exhausted with corruption. Now, remember, he was a politician, he had no political experience, and how he became the president of Ukraine. So I gave you the background, how Ukraine was. Now, for that time, Zelensky was a comedian and an actor. Also, it's important to mention that he was in very good relationships with Russia and Vladimir Putin. He actually participated on the end of the year's celebrations of the New Year's with Vladimir Putin in Russia, but that's subject for me another video. I'm not going to play the whole video here, but this gives you an idea of who he was before he became a politician. Do you guys have the audio? Is the audio there, Cora?
Yes, there is audio.
Okay, okay, good.
За долю, за правду, будьмо гей, по першій, по другій, по третій, будьмо гей, сам ти гей, за Юлю, нам долю, за Ляшка, ось моя булава, браття мої, заклейдемо танцювати проти москалів. Затанцюємо на бах, сила у нас є. Ще не вмерла Україна, поки крепко є. Борщ, сало, цибуля, хрін, сивуха.
I think this gives you an idea of who he was. He also created this series called Servant of the People, okay? And he became very famous. On this series, he was a teacher that got elected the president of Ukraine, and then he ran the country, and he did a lot of good things for the country, and again, servant of the people. So I honestly believe that him making that show and showing how he would be someone good and positive for the country and eradicate corruption was one of the ways in which he got favored into the election. Here's a few scenes of the series to give an idea about who he is or who he was on that miniseries.
Before he was president of Ukraine, he was just an ordinary guy who played the president of Ukraine. Vasily, a high school teacher unexpectedly catapulted to power, takes on oligarchs and bureaucracy. But can one honest man survive politics?
So here's another scene that shows how he was like wanting Ukraine to become part of Europe.
Hello?
Good morning, Mr. Koloborochka. Can I connect you with Angela Merkel?
Yes, you can connect.
Hello, my congratulations. We decided to take your country to the European Union.
Oh, fuck! Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, wow! Oh, you know, I'm so happy. Yes. Thank you very much. All the Ukrainians and all of our country, we've been waiting for this so much time.
Ukrainian?
Yes, Ukrainians.
Oh, I'm so sorry. That's a mistake. I was calling to Montenegro.
So as you can see, he was kind of promising on the show to bring Ukraine closer to Europe. Now, one of the main tactics for him to become elected is right here. He didn't give any interviews. He didn't expose what his plan was. You can very clearly see here, open letter by 20 news outlets calls on the presidential candidate to stop avoiding journalists ahead of the runoff vote. About 20 Ukrainian news outlets have called the presidential frontrunner, Volodymyr Zelensky, to stop avoiding the media before a runoff to vote on Sunday. So that was his tactic. He had the view that was broadcast by his comedy show, and then nothing else. That's all that people had to run with. And another thing that he did is he also promised to end the animosity and the tensions between Russia and Ukraine. So you can see here, people choose to vote for a character. The real political party, servant of the people, so he created a political party with the same name as the series, mirrored the fictional one, blending entertainment and politics. Now, he assumed office amidst a tense Ukraine-Russia relations, and he promised to end hostilities with Russia. And remember, he was in good relationship and good terms with Putin. I think in the Academy, I already showed a video where he was pretty much celebrating the Russian New Year with Vladimir Putin and making a show and a spectacle for the Russian people. Now, through the negotiation and also combat corruption in Ukraine. So he took a Ukraine that was tired and exhausted with corruption, exhausted with the conflicts. Remember 2014, there was Maidan, where he took down our president, a divided country. He said, listen, I'm going to ease the tensions and I'm going to end corruption. Now, initially, when he took power, because that's what he's run on, was perfect. He tried to make some agreements with Putin, and then he did not keep the agreements, and we know what happened. So initially, the progress was made. Putin expressed openness to peace if Ukraine avoided NATO and get into a brief resolution with the Donbass conflict. If you guys want to find out more about the Donbass conflict, you can ask us, and we're going to make a video about this. But there's a lot of tension because the Donbass area is too close to Russia. So the predominant population there are Russian or Russian descendants, and they speak Russian. Different than the east portion, which is closer, different than the west portion of opposite of Donbass that is more exposed to the Russian, to the European culture. So on the far west, you have Ukrainians exposed and closer to Europe. On the east part, you have Ukrainians that are pretty much commingled with Russian people. And there's a conflict. There's a different amount of the interests are very different between those who are close to Russia and those who are close to Europe. Now, by 2021, Zelensky shifted his view and his approach, and he sent military troops back to Donbass, breaking agreements and contributing to the Russian continuation of the invasion in 2022. The invasion of Ukraine began in 2014. Remember with the conflict of Maidan, where areas of Donbass and Crimea was taken. They changed the president. They took down a president that was in favor of Russia, put a president that was in favor of Europe, and Vladimir Putin took Crimea. Then Donald Trump got elected. The invasion has got to a pause, and it continued after Biden election and Zelensky changing his view. Now, other things he did. He started censorship of pro-Russian media, and he also suppressed the freedom of press and also put all of the press under very tight state controls. So there's no other narrative. How far did he go with the narrative of, or how far did he go trying to suppress any narrative that was not in favor of the war? Well, he was willing to have a journalist, and this is just speculation here, somehow an American journalist died in a Ukrainian prison. Why was the journalist in prison? Because he was speaking of perspectives and news about the war that was not in favor of what Zelensky wanted. So this American journalist died in a Ukrainian prison, American citizen, and no one speaks about it. I haven't heard of the media speaking about this. However, when a Russian citizen on a Russian prison died, all eyes are on Vladimir Putin and the whole world goes into commotion. But the American public and the American politicians didn't talk about the death of an American journalist. So I'm just giving you guys a comparison. So other things that Zelensky did, he dismissed the Prime Minister Oleksiy Honcharut. I don't know if I can pronounce that correctly, but he dismissed one of the prime ministers. He also has suffered a lot of allegations about overbilling on the Ukrainian defense. Remember, Ukraine is a very corrupt country. So there's a lot of overbilling and a lot of accusations, more than 260 million in violations discovered by Defense Ministry. When he found those things, guess what? He gets taken down by Zelensky. Now, in addition, various members within Zelensky government were found involved in corruption schemes, leading to resignations of at least one senior advisor, 4 deputy ministers, and 5 governors, not to mention that there's no elections in Ukraine. Now, did he succeed in end corruption? Well, a lot of people say that he's influenced by Kolomoisky, a powerful oligarch, and you can see they show them sitting together, and this guy backed the campaign of Zelensky. Now, if someone sponsors your campaign, obviously they have a say on how you conduct your country. So he also forced the resignation of the head of the National Bank of the Ukraine, Yakiv Ismaili. Now, why? Because confirmation of oligarch influence. So Ukraine still has a lot of corruption, also is facing a significant debt that they can never pay to the US. Yes, Biden says some of the debt is going to be forgiven, but there's no chance of them paying. So economically speaking, the country is in a much worse situation. They no longer can produce their grains. They no longer can export whatever grains they produce. The population of the country has shrunk tremendously. A lot of refugees, 20% of the population are down 20% of the territory has been lost. Now, Russia, on the other hand, and I already made a video about this, Russia is not facing the same economical challenges that Ukraine is facing. Now, there's a lot of controversies, a lot of criticism highlighting Zelensky's lack of transparency with the money that he's receiving. We're talking about almost getting closer to $500 billion that has been given to Ukraine, and a lot of that money, nobody knows where it goes. So this, in my view, represents a great threat to the alliance between Zelensky and the West. I don't see how he's going to be part of the EU with a lot of money missing from the money that he has received. And I also believe, honestly, that he's a human being, and most of the time that he's governing his country is under a conflict. I am not sure that he'll benefit from a peaceful Ukraine. Now, here are some questions from the West regarding the money. And already here, Donald Trump and the people next to Donald Trump talking about, they want to know, where did the money go? Not just what is the plan for victory, but where is that money? It's a lot of money. So here we have it.
So President Zelensky is once again doing the rounds in his khaki tracksuit, whining and dining with the richest, most famous, arguably the most corrupt, but well-heeled people in the world, asking for yet more money for NATO's war, more money for the rebuilding of Ukraine. God only knows where this money goes. The US Congress has sent $130 billion. The European nations have sent $140 billion. How is this money spent?
So it's a lot of money. And you can see here, the Biden administration moves to forgive $4.7 billion. But that's nothing. This is a very small percentage of the entire loan. And here is Zelensky and how he feels about the whole thing.
If you can't give us some financial support, okay, please give us a credit and we will give you back money.
I feel like I need to play this again.
If you can't give us some financial support, okay, please give us a credit and we will give you back money.
So Zelensky leadership reflects a recurring pattern in Ukraine. High hopes dashed by entrenched corruption and oligarchic influence. That is the reality for the Balkans. That is the reality for Ukraine. That is the reality for Russia, Georgia, former Soviet Union countries, almost all of them. There's a few exceptions. But that's the reality of that culture. Great promises, and in the end, corruption takes in. Now, one thing remains very clear, in my view, is that Zelensky is pretty much living in real life the reality of his series, Servant of the People. But what people may not know is how he solved problems when he was a servant of the people. So before I give my conclusion, watch for yourself. And remember, he wrote it, he directed, he was the main character. Everything in this show is coming directly from Zelensky's head and is done in a way that Zelensky wants it done. How did him, as a president, solve problems when things became out of control? Let's look at this.
Весь двор, мой приговор.
I can guarantee you most people in the West have no idea of this show, and that's how he handled problems. So let's give a little recap, okay? Oh, by the way, he was also elected the Person of the Year by Times Magazine. So, Servant of the People, that was the name of the show that he created. That was the name of the political party that he has created. No plan, except promise that he would end corruption and end the conflict between Ukraine and Russia. And of course, then he shifted his policies, and he obviously has failed to end the corruption in the country. In my view, to me, my conclusion to this is just amazing how Zelensky managed to pull the entire West into this, what I call black hole. There's no plan for victory. There is no way that he's going to be able to have a victory unless there's more and more help being given, more and more lines being crossed, and eventually bring us to the Third World War and possibly a nuclear war. I just find incredible that the entire West is just giving all the resources and all the money to a man who clearly cannot keep account for those numbers, not make account of where that money went, and all the resources have gone without any political background. And don't get me wrong, I don't think it's just because he was a comedian. It's because of the type of show that he created. I believe Joe Rogan to be a genius. I believe Joe Rogan to be an intelligent person. He's also a comedian. There's a lot of comedians that I respect. Now, being a comedian doesn't mean you are qualified to run a country. And I don't think Zelensky, just because he made a show and he ended that show solving his problems with violence, and you can see that the violence is the recourse used here for him to remain in power. So I just hope this had shined some light on who he was before becoming president, who he is now, and which direction this whole thing is going. And with this, I'm going to stop sharing. And if you guys want to know more about this, know more about geopolitics and how to be in control of your money, consider joining the Academy. Link for that on the description below. But now I'm going to yield the mic to you guys, and I'm going to be answering your questions. But before you guys give me any question, I have a question for you guys. Give me an emoji if it's the first time you find out about the Servant of the People comedy show and the political part of Zelensky. If you did not know about that before and how it ended with the violent scene, please just give me an emoji if this channel is the place where you found that first. So Lali found it here first. I think Marcos already knew. Connor, welcome. Yeah, Connor knew about entertainment and acting before.
There is.
Not
Yeah,
about that show.
Yeah, most people know that he was an actor and stuff, but not that the show was exactly what's happening right now. Yeah,
Yes.
someone in YouTube is saying like, so Zelensky is a bad person. That's how it.
Yeah. Another thing that I want people to know is like, and again, I'm pro freedom of speech. I just find curious, interesting that, for instance, there is allegations that Zelensky ordered the death of the American journalist in prison, and no one in America is talking about that. So that's something else that I find incredible. I think the only person I saw in America talking about this a few times was Tucker Carlson. He was the one that mentions, because again, he's a journalist. It's like, why aren't the American public aware of an American journalist dying in prison and being in prison for bringing news that are not in the favor of the war? So
well, I guess I'll be the one who points out the potential obvious is that, well, maybe Zelensky and Putin are splitting up all that money and having a toast over the big lie that they're pulling off to get how many billions at this point? I mean,
altogether, it is likely over 400 billion. Getting closer to 500 billion, like literally $500 billion.
And Russia isn't going through any pains with the sanctions, so maybe they're just splitting up the bag, the almost $1 trillion bag.
Yes.
Is there anything that would prove that that is just not possible? Is that just too far-fetched an idea?
I don't think it's far-fetched, but I see a question here, like, doesn't most of the US money goes direct to arms firms? So not really. Maybe we should make a video about this. How, in which form the money goes into. There's a lot of weapons being given. There's a lot of money being given because you need to also be aware that there's a lot of money that is given to rebuild things that have been damaged by the war. So, for instance, just recently, I think about 2 weeks ago, Russia pretty much destroyed a power plant in Ukraine. Now, weapons and firms that are involved in the military, they don't have the capacity to that, so then need to be, yeah. So there's a lot of money for rebuilding. Yes, there's a lot of money already being, since the beginning of the war, there is money for repair and rebuilds. There is money for medical supplies. There is money for medical equipment. There is money for paying the salary of the soldiers that are at war. So there's a lot of actual transactable money that is being given to this war. Because if Ukraine cannot sell their grains, they still have to pay the salaries of the people of the war. They have to pay infrastructure, food. There's a lot of things that needs to, yeah, it doesn't make sense. Yeah, they need to keep the country going. So it's not just weapons. Yeah, I'm glad you could listen that corner. And again, corruption is part of the culture in that area. So Marcus is here, Alchemist. Thank you for the question. Have we seen each other before? Have you been here before, Connor? I think he's not able to talk. Connor can talk. I just put in the chat.
Oh yeah. I was on a couple of weeks ago, but
okay.
I used to follow your channel when you're on YouTube more and Facebook, where you did live.
Oh, thank you.
So, and then I'll keep missing the emails for Wednesdays.
Oh, thank you for coming back, man.
Yeah, it's always interesting hearing your talks and your perspective and your research. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for coming back, Connor. Appreciate that. Yeah, try to bring things that other people are not talking about very much, though. So.
There is this person here, is the same one, Bragdow. He's commenting on YouTube. And he asked me that where is my biggest crypto bag, or where are my biggest crypto bags? But I don't think I'm the I am the best one to answer that question.
So the question is, what are our biggest crypto bags?
I guess my portfolio.
Yeah, so portfolio. Okay, so all right, I can answer that. I think most of the times when I receive that question is because people may be under the impression that I am or I could be a Bitcoin maximalist. I have never been that. I entered the crypto space in 2015, and I was for 2 years in Bitcoin only, not because I was a Bitcoin maximalist. It's just because I got obsessed with research and studying BTC. And that was my obsession. In 2017, it was the only time that I felt like I could dedicate time into research something else. And I started to research other crypto projects, one of which that really caught my attention, and I have been a huge fan ever since, for instance, is ADA, Cardano. I have other altcoins. I must have about, besides BTC, I may have at least another 10 different cryptocurrencies around that. But I'm not a maximalist of BTC or maximalist of anything else. I'm a maximalist of diversification and education. And the only thing that I haven't touched, I even have some NFTs. The only thing I have not touched is meme coins. And I was quite surprised to find out, I think it was last week, that people that I hang out with like for 4 years now, they are into meme coins themselves, and I never knew. So, but no, I'm not a maximalist. Obviously, my goal is to increase the amount of BTC that I hold. My goal is to outpace inflation first, and second, to accumulate more Satoshis. And I don't have a problem using any other crypto asset for that. I actually spoke this morning in Clubhouse. I don't care how you become an investor. I don't care what you buy to become an investor and get out of the fiat game. The best example I have, or the most like peculiar example that I have, and I use that again on a class on Academy, what is financial education? There's a guy in UK who didn't qualify to have the proper means of investment because he was from the Middle East and he was in UK and he didn't know how to do certain things. And also there was a language barrier, and he had money in form of cash. And he's like, my British pound is going to lose value. What should I do? And he realized a lot of space. He lived in a rural area in the UK, and he just bought pallets and pallets of bricks. Whenever he had extra money, he bought bricks. And we did a calculation on the bricks price for the UK during the COVID years, which was 2020, 2021, and he outperformed Warren Buffett by buying bricks. So it doesn't matter what coin or what you buy to get out of the fiat standard. I don't care if it's meme coin, bricks, Dogecoin, doesn't matter. The important thing is that you realize there's a problem with the fiat currency and you try to get yourself out of that. So I hope I answered that. But I think most of us try to have most of our assets in BTC. I'll think that, I'm not sure. Alchemist, what is your, if you can speak, what is the biggest percentage of your bag? Maybe you can speak.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I try to make sure that like half of it's in Bitcoin or Ethereum, one of the two. I'm a little bit more like comfortable with altcoins personally. But probably later on in the bull market, to be honest, that number will probably drop to like 30-40% because I just feel like later on in the cycle, I think I just feel like I feel pretty comfortable moving the Bitcoin and ETH into alts because I think they'll outpace them. But at the end of the day, they'll rotate and circle into Bitcoin and ETH. But I would say the minimum is at least 50% Bitcoin, ETH. That's what I'm comfortable with. But it's also gonna be different based on your goals and who you are as an investor and what you're comfortable with, as well as your understanding of the other assets besides those two as well. So it really just depends on you. And like if you join the academy as an example, we'll do what we can to get you sorted out with that as well. Like we'll take care of you. So
yeah, I noticed like different people have different needs, different expectations. And we try our best to see that we can accommodate your needs and your expectations. I'm not maximalist by any stretch of imagination. What I am, I'm a minimalist. I think everyone should be a fiat minimalist. Only have the amount of fiat that is extremely necessary for your life, nothing more. So I'm not a maximalist, but I'm a minimalist. So I see that BB also joined us. I think Marcos also have different things on his bag. If you feel comfortable sharing, Marcos, what is a percentage distribution of what is the largest percentage?
Bitcoin's the largest for me. I have some other things that have utility, or they had utility at one time. I was using or I was playing in an ecosystem. So, and there's some things that, I really like and that I learn about. So besides that, there's some other, I would say Bitcoin's the majority, but then there are some other altcoins that I do have. And some that would be surprising to people. So Stacks is one. I've played a lot in the ecosystem. I've had to have Ethereum. I'm not sure. Anyone that I don't know many people that are operating in the crypto space that don't have Ethereum, unless they're Bitcoin only. I confess I'm one of those people that Booth hangs out with. I've done some meme coin things. So I have some Solana as well. A few other things, but that's the answer.
Yeah, I just want to share with people here, like, I also I want to thank Juche for introducing me to BNB, and I'm just surprised that BNB and Solana are just like fighting each other. Like, I think a few hours ago or yesterday, BNB was surpassing Solana. So one thing about altcoins, though, since I came to crypto space, number one and number two has always been Bitcoin, Ethereum. Those has never changed, right? But everything from the third place downwards is in constant change. Like there was a time where Dogecoin was, I think, fourth or fifth on the time of Elon Musk. So it is a very crazy space when you go below number one, number two. Now, one thing that I do myself to help me to view these things, I never consider stable coins, right? So I don't count USDT. I do not count USDC. I count like actual crypto projects that are competing for market cap. So, because this is just US dollar, so representing the blockchain. Yeah. But look at this, man. I was surprised on this jump of BNB. Look at this. I play a game of numbers. Juche and I, we made some allocation on BNB. That was in the beginning of the first or second quarter of the year. We were waiting for BNB to reach 666, which actually did previously. You can see here, July, I think it's when we hit that for the first time. And then we re-entered the trade at 555, 3 fives, and we exit again at 666, which was a mistake because BNB actually got to 777 quite recently. I think you can see, it doesn't show here on the graph, but it came to 777.
Yeah, looks like the numbers of CoinGecko are sometimes.
Yeah, you can see here, look. Yeah. Depending on which window you look, but we reached 777 right here earlier today. So yeah, but I'm not. Go ahead, Cora. What else?
No, I was gonna. I thought you were done. I was gonna.
I'm done.
My comment here is basically I realized that it's the same person who asked about blockchain and AI, how they are related. He said, I guess is he, AI Twitter agents seem to be hot right now. Could be the next in this market. What do you think about Virtual's platform?
Yeah, I think we can answer that, but I want to go do something here. I think another project that I like is this one, Phantom. I think Alchemist want to take a look at this. He's doing really well for the past month, since 21st of November. From 66 cents, it surpassed $1. And I remember we talking about that in Academy and actually go doing an analysis of the upgrade is about to come. And I think this performance of Phantom is maybe because of the upgrade. And I can see here from $1 to 120, like 20% up. But let's now answer the question from our, I think, Alchemist. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the agents are like the meme coin agents. It's like kind of, I'm gonna be honest, like I don't really feel comfortable like because I'm late. Like I feel like I'm late on that. Like the meme coins that the agents are promoting. I think a good solid thing to look into getting if you want some exposure there is Fetch AI and ASI. It's basically the marketplace for the agents. that is basically what I would say would be the Bitcoin of AI crypto. If you want to get some exposure, I know we talked about it on the live, but yeah, I mean the agents are going to be here to stay, and they're going to develop and they're not going to go away. Like the quality AI stuff is going to be here for a long time. There's a lot of stuff out there that is not real and it's just marketing and they're just using the brand, like they're just putting the name on their AI. A lot of it isn't real and stuff. So you want to stick to quality. So that's one that I would say is a quality one that like I feel comfortable like holding for a decent amount of time. So
I think another thing that people need to become aware is we are entering like uncharted territories, and I think the AI and the agents is just another level, is an upgrade on bots on social media. I think there's going to be a time where people are not going to know the difference between an agent and a real human. I think deepfake is going to be also help with that. We're going to be having a very hard time knowing if you are interacting with a real human or not. I think that is where we are going. And I think some countries start to foresee that. For instance, I think I just heard that Australia made pretty much illegal for anyone under 16 to have any access to social media as a way to protect their population. So I think like this AI world is, again, another big bang that is happening, and it's becoming a whole other universe. And I think it's just only going to get more complex from here on. I don't think anyone is prepared to deal with like agents and bots interacting with humans. I don't think the human brain is prepared to handle that. I can see a lot of those agents and bots making a lot of people wealthy, and I think it's going to be a new branch of hackers that are going to be using those agents just to literally cash on people. It's going to be very hard to control, to monitor. So that's my view. I could be wrong, but that's how I see this whole thing unfolding. Go ahead,
yeah, I mean, I was just gonna say real quick on top of that, Boof, like it's gonna probably be to the point where the majority of the fees being generated on the blockchains are gonna be agent users and stuff. Yeah, most of them will be like there will be more humans too, but yeah, a lot of them are gonna be agents moving on the blockchain and generating fees and moving around and stuff like based on people prompting them. So it's gonna be pretty crazy. So
yeah. I think I saw. Go ahead, Cora. Please expound this.
No, I'm just pretty much posting in the chat. Is another comment that Bragdao made on YouTube. He said that I don't know, AIXBT is the most popular one on Twitter. For example, if you are not familiar with, so just letting you know that he's saying that.
Yeah, and
yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say like I would be careful. Like personally, me, like I'm not gonna like if I don't have any information advantage at all, like I'm not gonna like be like, yeah, it's great. So yeah, I would be careful with the AI meme coins. I would put it that way, especially right now because everybody's talking about it. When you want to get stuff like that is when people aren't talking about it, and right now everybody's talking about that on YouTube and stuff. So just be careful. If it takes a dip and nobody's talking about it, okay, maybe then we can talk again. It's worth paying attention to, but be careful throwing capital at AI meme coins right now. I think that's my opinion.
Another thing that I think is happening with the meme coins is something that I saw happening on NFT world, right? And I'm not sure to what point that was done manually or to what point that was done with AI. But I knew, for instance, some people who create an NFT on the Ethereum on, what's the name again? Of the marketplace. I forgot. Oh man, so many information. So much information. OpenSea. I know people who create NFTs on the OpenSea on Ethereum, and what they did is they create an NFT collection, but they have like, let's say, 50 ETH, right? And they spread those 50 ETH along 20 different wallets. And then this wallet pretends to interact on OpenSea and wanted to buy this NFT, right? So he created an NFT that is like, I don't know, $2. Now, this other wallet here buys the NFT for $10, 5x's. And then a few other wallets become interest, and that other wallet bought NFT for $50. And then eventually you see that NFT being like $20,000, $30,000, and then one wallet, which is not the guy who created NFT wallet, feels like that trajectory is going to continue, and they want to buy this NFT before it becomes too valuable for them to purchase. And then someone who is not the wallet that belongs to the artist makes an offer, right? $55,000 worth of it for the art piece. He sells it. Now the guy is holding an NFT that is worthless. The guy used his own Ethereum holdings and his own wallets to push the price of that NFT, and then eventually somebody buys, right? I can totally see agents and AI doing this with meme coins, NFTs, and you name it. And how do you know, like, the transactions are done legitimately by human beings that actually genuinely interested on those things? And I can see those agents and AI creating communities as well, or giving the illusion that there is a community of people, like numbers of people that actually value something which has no value but the value of the AI community, right? So we're going to be entering like very uncharted territories where a lot of people are going to become wealthy by scamming people with a tool called AI. That's what I see, especially in the crypto space. Like, there's a perfect combination, an emerging new technology that changes the way we transact, and then you have an AI tool that is available to a lot of kids on the basement of their parents, on the room of their, like, being supported by their parents, becoming millionaires by you just utilizing those tools, you know. I think the best one is, do I think Ethereum's layer 2, what's the question?
Yeah, do you want me to read it?
Yeah, that's your question, right?
No,
If I think it-
it's the same
someone-
person, Bragdao on YouTube.
So I think Solana came into existence after layer 2s already existed on Ethereum. That's one thing. So, and yes, go ahead, Cora.
You read the question?
Yeah, can you read it? Okay. So the question is, do you think Ethereum's layer 2s will affect Solana? Question mark. People seem to use Solana only because of the memes and low fees, but layer 2s such as Base are gaining popularity. So first question, layer 2s already existed when Solana came into place. What I have not understood yet, but I know is there, is that Solana has a very big, loyal community to Solana. And I think a lot of members of that community are not going to go to Ethereum layer 2 because there's something that Solana has managed to do, which is create huge fans and community for Solana. I mean, the network has been down a few times, and Solana has like few blocks per second. I think it's about 4 blocks per second. So when a thing gets halted for an hour, 24 hours a day, that means a lot of blocks being delayed. That does not affect the price of Solana so much, which means they have a very strong community. And I think the community is already, I think Solana conquered this into the space to be the blockchain for meme coins. I know a lot of meme coins being created on Solana. It's a strong community. So no, I don't think layer 2s will affect that loyalty to Solana. Some people seem to be like really, I think what crypto space have managed to do is to create different tribes. And I think there's a tribe called Solana where people are not going to go to something else. That's what I view though. Very few people today into the crypto space, I see them willing to have an open mind to other things. And the people that I know who are into Solana, they're into Solana. The people that I know that are strong defenders of XRP, they're very strong defenders of XRP. And I think there is a tribalistic thing happening. And as long as Solana has that tribe, I see it very difficult to go to layer 2s on Ethereum. But I'm willing to hear other people here. Alchemist, you want to say something about that?
Yeah, I mean, basically at different points of a bull market, capital rotates from one chain to another. And a lot of these guys are friends with each other as well. So you have like Solana whales, and then you have like Ethereum whales, and like Coinbase's blockchain, like as an example, like we went over Aerodrome in the academy. I think that eventually, like right now, Ethereum is pretty cheap, like relative to Solana and BTC, like they're close to their all-time highs. At some point, capital will probably rotate to like Base, like as an example, or Optimism or Arbitrum. It's just it kind of pumps at different times. Right now, Solana is really, really hot. I think that it's totally possible that money moves to L2s and narratives, especially once normies like normal investors start to go to Coinbase, and they start to go through Coinbase. Coinbase is going to make it very easy to go to Base, and I think it at different times, different L1s and L2s are going to get the capital rotating to them and stuff. So I do think that it will happen, but that doesn't mean that Solana is going to like lose steam, or it might slow down a little bit because it's went so fast like over the past like year and a half. But I think it's totally possible that at some point capital will rotate to other blockchains and stuff. It will that will happen. So, but right now Solana is the hot topic. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? So
yeah, but I mean I don't know much about Base, but Base doesn't have their own crypto asset. We already covered that also, I think, on Academy and a few other presentations. But I think Base is going to be the decentralized place for American public, right? Because a lot of those things that happen outside the US, like American public may not have access directly to it. They have to go through like VPNs and a few tricks. And I think Base is gonna be doing well because it's going to be serving a public that is craving and looking for the products that we have available, for instance, on BNB chain, which is not available at the US. I think Base is going to be serving. I mean, it's the biggest market on the planet. I think the American market is a huge market. And I think in terms of DeFi, I think Base is going to be feeding that need for people who are in the US and unable to access other things.
yeah, I mean, the problem is that everybody wants to buy everything when it's already a winner. So like XRP, like I don't know if you guys have heard like everybody talking about XRP now. It's like, no, like oh, like do you think I should buy it now? No, the answer is no. Like you should not. You know what I mean? Because it's already pumped. You want to buy things when people aren't paying attention to them, if that makes sense. So, like as an example, like ETH, or like L2s, nobody's talking about them yet. You know what I mean? Like not a lot of people are talking about it. You probably want to look for opportunities that way, if that makes sense. At least that's what I think.
Yeah, so I can show you what we mean here. Look, the idea, just going to be clear, and again, not financial advice for anyone, but do you want to buy something that went up 63% in 7 days? At that point, like maybe not, right? Do you want to buy? I remember when Cardano was 2 cents, and even when it was 20 cents in 2021, I was like, I want to get into it, and people are like, oh, you're crazy. I'm like, oh, I got in at 2 cents. I'm going to get some more. You want to get into things that are not hyping like this. Do I suggest people should get into Cardano now? I mean, nope. It went what? Almost 100%. It was of like sub 50 cents about a month ago. Now is not the time to buy. Like if you want to buy, look for something that is not like this. Totally surprised me. BNB at 700 is not a good point of entry. You want to go to things that are not doing well, and then you want to buy. The idea is buy low, sell high, right? Like things are like 24%, 30%, 11% in 7 days, 15% in 7 days. I'm not sure that is the time to go into those things, though. Not in the short term, at least, in being long term, but no. Maybe we can make another event of things that people are not talking about that offer some potential, Alchemist. We can discuss that on the weekend and come up with that content.
Oh like yeah, we got one. The next coin overview. The first one was Phantom.
Don't mention here. We will mention on the event. Don't spoil it.
All right.
I think we can prepare something for the public, like what can potentially go like many axes that people are not talking about yet. So, all right, and with this, I think we're coming to the top of the hour. Thank you for the engagement. Thank you for the questions. Thank you for being here. Is there any more questions, Cora, on the YouTube live?
I think there's one more Do you have an opinion on how L2s will affect Ethereum layer 1 and its deflationary design?
You want to go on that, Alchemist? You want to take that one first?
Yeah, sure. So most likely it is the case that if there's less speeds being generated, that means that like Ethereum is going to be a little bit less deflationary in the short term. Now, in the long term, that's probably not going to be the case. Ethereum will be deflationary again, especially as the activity increases. By the end of this bull market, I think Ethereum is going to start burning like a lot, and the burn is going to start to really hit. It's just the reason why Ethereum is not deflationary right now, it's barely inflationary, but it is a little inflationary, is that basically everybody is using the L2s. A lot of people are moving the capital to the L2s, and therefore there's less there's less burning happening. But that is a short-term thing. I think over time, if Ethereum continues to gain network effect and adoption, and I think that it goes back to burning. It's just right now it's in this weird thing where it's like barely inflationary, if that makes sense. So, yep.
Yeah. So I think L2 is going to always be there. People are going to be looking for cheaper fees. Maybe you can make a note course, make a video about like explaining layer 2s and inflationary and deflationary. One thing that I want to make sure people understand, like Bitcoin is inflationary. There's an inflation to BTC. Now, why an inflationary cryptocurrency or crypto asset increase in value so much? To have inflation or not have inflation is not really the issue. The issue is that inflation higher than the increased demand? If the inflation rate is 2% and the economical growth and the demand is at 20%, inflation doesn't matter. What happens to fiat currency is that the inflation of fiat currency goes at faster pace than the increased demand for that currency. That's the problem. But as long as the issuance is X and the demand is many more X's, you don't have a depreciation of purchasing power. But when the inflation surpasses demand, that's when you have the loss of purchasing power or depreciation of that asset.
Yeah, guys, thank you so much for the questions. We really like when you guys engage and ask us questions. It gives us more stuff to talk about in the future as well. So we appreciate that.
Yeah. All right, we just reached, I think, 1 hour of this live. Thank you for the questions. Appreciate all the engagement. Please, if you have not, do subscribe to the channel and also click the notification bell so that you'll be notified whenever we have another live or another video coming up. And if you have any subject that you want us to discuss, just request that on the comments below, and we try to make videos. If the question is too complex, we make a video about it. If the question is easily answered, we can answer those on live. Also, remember, for those who are in America, we do have a live here on a Sunday. What time is EST? Cora, I'm not sure if I have the time
It's
EST.
8
So
p.m.
8 p.m. Yeah, so 8 p.m. to EST, yeah. So for those who are in America, we have a live which is not in the middle of the day for you, but it is actually at the beginning of the evening at 2000 or 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern time. I appreciate your presence. Once again, click the notification bell, and if you have not yet, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys on the next video or our next live. This is it. Once again, all the questions appreciated, all the engagement appreciated, and we're going to be leaving out here. That's it. I'm leaving. Thank you. Ciao.
Okay, bye, guys.